Check. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable President of India. Namo Buddhaya and a very good morning. On behalf of the International Buddhist Confederation, I welcome you all to our celebration of Ashad Purnima 2020 as Dharma Chakra Day. The Ashad Purnima is the full moon day on which Tathagata Gautam Buddha delivered his first sermon of Dharma Chakra Parvatana Sutra, thereby setting the wheel of Dharma Chakra in the motion. Now we will have Manglacharan by Dhammadeepa Buddha Vihar in Theravada tradition, followed by Mahayana Sangha from Ganden Tech Chanting Monastery, Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Evam sutta samaya bhagava padanasiyan. Ese patane nigadaye. Tatara bhagava panjavaliye bhikkhu amantise. Duyame bhikkhawe bhagavajidina nasuritava. Kadami dve yojaye damiso kamaso kalika nuyogo. Hino gano patujani ko anariyo aneta sahito. Yojaye ethadila matano yogo dukko anariyo aneta sahito. Ede ko bhikkhawe uborente anupakena majjhima patipada. Tathagatina abhisambodhata konkaranina nakarane. Upasamaya abhinyaya sambodhaya nibbanaya samvatati. Katama jasa bhikkhawe majjhima patipada tathagatina. Abhisambodhata konkaranina nakarane upasamaya. Abhinyaya sambodhaya nibbanaya samvatati. Ayame variyo dhamiko madho siyatida. Saimani thi saima sangato saima vaja saima kamanto. Saima ajivo saima vayamo saima sati saima samadhi. Ayam dosa bhikkhawe majjhima patipada भवातो सर्वमङ्गले रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वधर्मानुभावेन सदा सुखे भवन्तु ते भवातो सर्वमङ्गले रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वसङ्घानुभावेन सदा सुखे भवन्तु ते साधु साधु साधु।
I humbly request the Honorable President of India, Shri Ram Nath Kovind ji, and Venerable Dr. Dhammapaiah, Secretary General IBC, to proceed for lighting of lamp at the Lord Buddha statue and offering of flowers amidst chanting.
Buddham Sharanam Gacchami Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami Sangham Sharanam Gacchami Buddham Sharanam Gacchami Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami Sangham Sharanam Gacchami Buddham Sharanam Gacchami Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami Sangham Sharanam Gacchami Buddham Sharanam Gacchami Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami Sangham Sharanam Gacchami.
I request Venerable Dr. Dhammapaiah, Secretary General IBC, to hand over the memento to the Honorable President of India. I cordially invite Shri Prahlad Singh Patel, Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge, Ministry of Culture and Ministry of Tourism for the welcome address.
पुण्य आषाढ़ पूर्णिमा और धम्म दिवस के इस पुण्य अवसर पर हमारे बीच में उपस्थित महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी, मंत्रिपरिषद में मेरे सहयोगी खेल मंत्री माननीय किरण रिजिजू जी, भारतीय सांस्कृतिक संबंध परिषद के अध्यक्ष माननीय विनय सहस्त्रबुद्धे जी, मंगोलिया के महामहिम राजदूत माननीय कामबोध जी, सचिव संस्कृति, उपस्थित भाइयों बहनों, आज हम सब सौभाग्यशाली हैं कि इस पुण्य अवसर पर यहाँ पर उपस्थित हैं। पहली बार ये प्रयास अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बौद्ध परिसंघ की तरफ से हो रहा है इस बात के लिए मैं जो संगठन के महासचिव हैं आदरणीय डॉक्टर धम्मप्रिया जी, उनको पहले उनके प्रति आभार भी व्यक्त करता हूं, उनको धन्यवाद भी देता हूं और भविष्य के लिए मैं उनको शुभकामनाएं भी देता हूं। हम सब बस उस दिन का स्मरण करें कि जब भगवान बुद्ध ने के मन में जो प्रकाश आया, उन्होंने पहली बार जब उसको इस धरती पर उस विचार को बीज के रूप में अपने शिष्यों के बीच में रखा होगा, तो जैसे किसी वृक्ष का बीज लगता है तो परिणाम के बाद ही पता चलता है कि वो वास्तव में क्या स्वरूप लेगा। भगवान बुद्ध के विचार, उनका स्वयं का तप, उस स्थान की महिमा जहां पर ये संदेश दिया गया, और देखते ही देखते वो देशों की भौगोलिक सीमाओं को कब पार कर गया, ये शायद लोगों को इस बात का अंदाजा ही नहीं रहा, और पूरी दुनिया में वो शांति का संदेश पहुंचा। लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि हम सबकी जिम्मेदारी है कि भगवान बुद्ध प्रकाश में जहां से आए थे वहां पर अवस्थित है, विचार पूरी दुनिया के सामने है, लेकिन वो स्थान जहां पर उन्होंने इस उपदेश की शुरुआत की थी वो उस पवित्र भारत भूमि के पर है, और इसलिए उसकी उतनी ही मान्यता है जितनी विचार की है, जितनी व्यक्ति के तप की है। और इस नाते मैंने अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बौद्ध परिसंघ को आभार व्यक्त किया है। मैं महामहिम का हृदय से आभारी हूं। यहाँ पर उपस्थित और बौद्ध विचार का प्रतिनिधित्व करने वाले किरण जी का, अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर सांस्कृतिक रूप से चीज़ों को पहुंचाने वाले विनय जी का, और मंगोलियाई राजदूत कामबोध जी का, क्योंकि संस्कृति मंत्रालय ने एक काम किया है, मैंने उसमें कुंजूर की प्रतियों का फिर से देश और दुनिया के सामने रखने का काम किया है, और उसकी पहली प्रतियां आज महामहिम को हम समर्पित करेंगे। और उसके बाद माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के आदेशानुसार हम माननीय राजदूत को पहली प्रतियां उनको भी हम भेंट करेंगे, ताकि उनके माध्यम से मंगोलिया की तमाम मॉनेस्ट्री में क्रमशः हम उन प्रतियों को पहुंचा पाएं। कुंजूर मंगोलियाई जितने भी बौद्ध विचारक हैं, अनुयायी हैं, उनके लिए भगवान की वाणियों के रूप में वो उसको श्रद्धा रखते हैं। 108 वॉल्यूम है। प्रतिमाह संस्कृति मंत्रालय उन 5 वॉल्यूम्स को फिर से उसकी छपाई करवाने के बाद नियमित तौर पर मंगोलिया के राजदूत के माध्यम से हम उसको लगातार देने की कोशिश करेंगे। संस्कृति मंत्रालय का संकल्प है कि हम 108 जो पूरे खंड हैं, उन खंडों को हमारे मंगोलियाई मॉनेस्ट्रीज के पास पहुंचाने में जब हम पूरा करेंगे तभी शायद हमको संतुष्टि होगी। इस अवसर पर मैं फिर से राजदूत महोदय का, धम्मप्रिया जी का, अन्य सभी लोगों का आभार व्यक्त करते हुए मैं अपनी बात को यहाँ समाप्त करता हूँ, और मैं फिर से महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी के प्रति अपना आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ कि उन्होंने जो समय दिया और जिस तरह से इस आयोजन में की सफलता के लिए मैं उनके प्रति अपना हृदय से धन्यवाद प्रकट करते हुए अपनी बात को समाप्त करता हूँ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Now I request Honorable Minister of Culture Shri Prahlad Singh Patel to unveil the first volume of the digitized publication of Mongolian Kanjur and present it to the Honorable President of India. Thank you. Now I request Honorable Minister of Culture, Shri Prahlad Singh Patel, to present a copy of Mongolian Kanjur to His Excellency Mr. Gonching Gambold, Ambassador of Mongolia, as a token of love and friendship from Government of India. Kanjur is the translated words of the Buddha and is the entire collection of texts regarded as Buddha Vakna or Buddha word. The invaluable publication was compiled by Dr. Lokesh Chandra from the archives of late Dr. Raghuvira and is published by National Manuscripts Commission courtesy of Indira Gandhi National Centre for Arts under the aegis of Ministry of Culture. It is an offering to the people of Mongolia from India. Thank you, everyone. I invite now Dr. Vinay Sahasrabudhe, Member of Parliament and President, Indian Council for Cultural Relations, for the address note. Welcome, sir.
Honorable President of India, Shri Ramnath Kovind ji, Honorable Union Ministers, Shri Kiran Rijiju ji and Shri Prahlad Patel ji, Venerable Dharmapriya ji, Excellency Ambassador of Mongolia, our good friend Shri Ganbod ji, and all those who are joining this Dharma Chakra Day, a historic day, from various parts of the globe, brothers and sisters. It's a privilege to be a part of the observance of this day, and I am grateful for bestowing this honor on me to the organizers. When the entire humanity is facing a serious challenge in the form of COVID-19 pandemic, remembering the message of Karuna given by Buddha is extremely important. Today's crisis calls upon all of us to be sensitive towards all those who are fighting to save humanity from this dreadful onslaught of the pandemic. Basic human sensitivity is the mother of ability to empathize. And the origin of sensitivity lies in Gautam Buddha's Karuna or compassion. Compassion is the essence of quality of a Bodhisattva. Karuna is also one of the 4 Brahma Viharas or sublime states. Compassion indicates the qualities of heart, love, and respect for all living beings. The word compassion, friends, is made up of 2 words, ko, meaning together, and passion, meaning a strong feeling. When we see someone in distress and we feel their pain as if it were our own, and strive to eliminate or lessen their pain, then this is compassion. One must understand that all the unique characteristics of human beings, like sharing, readiness to give comfort, sympathy, concern, and caring, are all manifestations of nothing but compassion. In Western medical ethics, I am told, compassion serves mainly to define the responsibilities and duties of medical professionals. In contrast, Eastern medical ethics consider developing compassion as a prerequisite in becoming a physician and recognize its curing effects. In the traditional medicine of Tibet and Mongolia, where Mahayana Buddhism prevails, a physician is seen as an enlightened person who has been thoroughly trained in Buddhist philosophy. In order to become a physician, one should develop compassion, which is considered as a path of enlightenment. Compassion is not just a characteristic, but a skill used for therapeutic purposes, which should be mastered through training and meditation, stage by stage. Friends, when we observe Dharma Chakra Din, the greatest message is that of introspecting and becoming answerable to ourselves as to how much of the teachings of Buddha have we been able to translate into our day-to-day conduct? Let's not forget the final message of Buddha. He urges his disciples, saying, "Ye be the light, Atta Deepa Bhava." The essence of this message is that one must be the torch bearer of transformation into himself or herself. Today, when hypocrisy is eating into the vitals of trust and confidence, we have to ensure that what we preach, practice we must. In a way, ending the dichotomy between our thinking and our actions is also pravartan of a different kind. Let this pravartan enlighten all of us. Friends, when we visit a monastery and move a chakra, we realize the importance of Nityanutan, Chirapuratan, the element of eternality of human values. The Atma Deep within us helps us look within, deep into our hearts. The deeper we go, the lesser is the craving to outgrow or to expand. Lastly, when I offer my salutations at the feet of Mahatma Gautam Buddha, let me assure that the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, the ICCR, will make every attempt to observe this day at our cultural centers all over the world to take the message of Buddha to every human being. Once again, I thank the International Buddhist Confederation for bestowing this honor on me by inviting me to participate in this historic function. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I invite now Shri Kiren Rijiju, Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, and Minister of State, Ministry of Minority Affairs, for the address note.
My heartfelt greetings to the Honorable President of India, Sri Ramnath Kovind ji, my colleague Prahlad Patel ji, Vinay Sahasrabuddhe ji, Excellencies, Royalties, Supreme Heads of the Buddhist organizations, eminent masters and scholars from around the world, and the International Buddhist Confederation Secretary General Dhammapaya ji, his team, and all the members of the organizations who have gathered both physically and virtually on this august occasion of Dharma Chakra Day to spread Buddha's message. The Dharma Chakra Day, Asadda Purnima, marks Buddha's first teaching after attaining enlightenment to the Panchavarga, his first 5 ascetic disciples, on the first full moon day of the month of Asadda at Deer Park, Rishipatan, in current-day Sarnath, near ancient city of Varanasi in India. These teachings of Dhammachakra Pavattan Sutta in Pali or Dharmachakra Pravartana Sutra in Sanskrit is also known as the first turning of the wheels of the Dharma, which comprise of the 4 noble truths and the noble eightfold path. The values and the teachings of Buddhism are very much at the heart of India's ethos and cultural identity. Historical legacy of our great land, being the land of Buddha's enlightenment and awakening, connects us intimately with not only the Buddhist, but everybody who understands and follows Buddhism, and everyone who values love, compassion around the world. It binds us very strongly with every Buddhist nation. In Buddhism, the moon is an enduring symbol of truth and enlightenment. As we approach Asadda Purnima, one of the most auspicious full moon days, what has been an extremely testing year for humanity, collectively we must continue to work towards upholding truth, principles and teachings of great Buddha to achieve a mutually beneficial coexistence and prosperity for all the humankind. Thank you very much.
I invite now His Excellency Mr. Gonchik Gambold, Ambassador of Mongolia to India, to read out the message from President of Mongolia, His Excellency Mr. Khalmagan Batulga.
महामान्य राष्ट्रपति जी, भाइयों और बहनों, आज के शुभ अवसर पर आपके साथ ही मंगोलिया के राष्ट्रपति जी संदेश भेजे है, मैं सुना देता हूँ। Distinguished guests, compassionate monks, masters, spiritual brothers, on behalf of the Mongolian people and in my own name, I am pleased to pass my sincere greetings to all of you who are participating in the Dharma Divas, Chakra Divas, or Wheel of the Dharma Day in India. India is a cradle of ancient cultures and many religions with their uniqueness. The country with which we Mongolians enjoy a special spiritual bonds. The man's pursuit of enlightenment through self-salvation and mindfulness is the most valuable achievement of Buddhists. Buddhism's scientific approach and unique methods of cognition are attracting worldwide attention and are becoming an important subject of study. You would agree with me that our people have been long delving the sense of Buddhism from this ancient past, thus preserving it in its history, culture, and heritage, and spreading it from north to north by the command of the triumphing Buddha, while proliferating very best and most advanced of this essence with the peoples around the world. Mongolians have learned from Buddhism and cherish and have cultivated its ideas such as compassion, benevolence, and peaceful resolution of differences. I am confident that through the Dharma Chakra Divas event, sorts of famous religious, cultural, social figures will be compassionately shared with the people, and that it will increase the international significance of Buddhism, help to build a better world and better tomorrow through peace and stability, and spread the call for the wave of peace. I am proud to say that you Buddhists have great potential for spreading peace not only in your body, in your family and country, but also the world over. Through the International Buddhist Confederation and President of India, I would like to thank the government and people of India for hosting the Dharma Chakra Divas and wish them all my best. May God bless India and its spiritual people. May the idea of compassion be spread to the mankind. President of Mongolia, Khalmagan Batulga, 4th July, Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia.
Thank you. Now we shall present an address note by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, through this video.
Respected President, Shri Ramnath Kovind ji, other distinguished guests, let me begin by conveying my greetings on Ashadh Purnima. It is also known as Guru Purnima. This is a day to remember our Gurus who gave us knowledge. In that spirit, we pay homage to Lord Buddha. I'm happy that copies of the Mongolian Kanjur are being presented to the government of Mongolia. The Mongolian Kanjur is widely respected in Mongolia. Most monasteries have a copy of it. Friends, the Eightfold Path of Lord Buddha shows the way towards the well-being of many societies and nations. It highlights the importance of compassion and kindness. The teachings of Lord Buddha celebrate simplicity both in thought and action. Buddhism teaches respect for people, respect for the poor, respect for women, respect for peace and non-violence. Therefore, the teachings of Buddhism are the means to a sustainable planet. Friends, in his very first sermon in Sarnath and his teachings after that, Lord Buddha spoke on two things: hope and purpose. He saw a strong link between them. From hope comes a spirit of purpose. For Lord Buddha, it was the removal of human suffering. We have to rise to the occasion and do whatever we can to increase hope among people. Friends, I'm very hopeful about the 21st century. This hope comes from my young friends, our youth. If you want to see a great example of how hope, innovation and compassion can remove suffering, it is our startup sector led by our youth. Bright young minds are finding solutions to global problems. India has one of the largest startup ecosystems. I would urge my young friends to also stay connected with the thoughts of Lord Buddha. They will motivate and show the way ahead. At times, they will even calm you down or cheer you up. In fact, Lord Buddha's teaching of Appa Deepo Bhavaha, Appa Deepo Bhavaha, be your own guiding light, is a wonderful management lesson. Friends, today the world fights extraordinary challenges. To these challenges, lasting solutions can come from the ideals of Lord Buddha. They were relevant in the past. They are relevant in the present. And they will remain relevant in the future. Friends, it is the need of the hour to connect more and more people with Buddhist heritage sites. We in India have many such sites. You know how people also know my parliamentary constituency of Varanasi. At the home to Sarnath, we want to focus on connectivity to Buddhist sites. A few days back, the Indian cabinet announced that Kushinagar airport will be an international one. This will bring so many people, pilgrims and tourists. It would also generate economic opportunities for many. India awaits you. Friends, once again, my greetings to you all. May the thoughts of Lord Buddha further brightness, togetherness and brotherhood. May his blessings inspire us to do good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
With great pride, I take this opportunity now to invite our Honorable President of India, Shri Ram Nath Kovind ji, to grace the dais with his address note.
Minister of State, Independent Charge, Ministry of Culture and Ministry of Tourism, Sri Prahlad Singh Patel, Minister of State, Independent Charge, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, and Minister of State, Ministry of Minority Affairs, Sri Kiren Rijiju, Ambassador of Mongolia to India, His Excellency Mr. Ganching Ganbold, Member of Parliament and President, Indian Council for Cultural Relations, Dr. Vinay Sahasrabuddhe, Secretary General, International Buddhist Conference, Sri Dhammapriya, Secretary Culture, Sri Anand Kumar, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I extend my heartiest greetings to all of you on this auspicious occasion of Dhammachakra Divas and Ashadh Purnima. It was today on Ashadh Purnima, some 2500 years ago, that the word of wisdom was spoken out for the first time. On attaining enlightenment, the Buddha spent 5 weeks in a state beyond description. Then he started sharing with people the nectar he had discovered. It was in the Deer Park in Sarnath, near Varanasi, the ancient city in the eastern part of India, that the Buddha taught the Dhamma to his 5 original disciples. It was a momentous occasion unparalleled in the history of humankind. That day is also known as Guru Purnima. Hindus and Jains also celebrate it as a mark of reverence for their spiritual teachers. This day is an unbroken link to India's eternal pursuit of wisdom without dogma. I am happy to host the Ashadh Purnima celebration in the Rashtrapati Bhavan as part of our civilizational journey for welfare of the universe since time immemorial. The video message by the Prime Minister of India seen by all of us just now reflects the eternal values and positive approach of India. I am delighted at the very enriching message from the President of Mongolia, His Excellency Khaltmagin Batulg, read out by His Excellency Mongolian Ambassador. I had the privilege to host the President of Mongolia as our honored guest in Rashtrapati Bhavan during his state visit in September last year. It was an occasion for us to deepen our civilizational friendship and to nourish our age-old Buddhist ties. Ladies and gentlemen, I am told that the International Buddhist Confederation, or IBC, with its presence in 36 countries, is holding the celebrations around the world. We, however, are in the midst of a virulent pandemic that has overwhelmed the entire humanity. Perhaps no part of the world remains untouched by this calamity that adversely affects every individual. As a precaution, we have to follow certain discipline and maintain physical distance. The IBC is therefore holding the events virtually. I believe that such an effort is praiseworthy because this makes it possible for a far larger number of people from all corners of the world to participate in them. Ceremonies and prayers are being organized at the sacred sites in Sarnath and Bodh Gaya in India, Kandy in Sri Lanka, and Gandan Tekchig Ling Monastery in Mongolia. Chanting of the Dhammachakra Pravartan Sutra by the Mahasangha in various countries is being streamed live. Friends, let us remind ourselves that the Buddha's first sermon was disarmingly simple. That sermon, known as Dhammachakra Pravartan Sutra in Pali, has a unique place in the Buddhist canon. Both practitioners and scholars revere it as the treasure in which the entire teaching is hidden. For 45 years after he attained enlightenment, the Buddha traveled across the vast regions of the Gangetic Plains to bring the healing message to the masses. Thus, he delivered a very large number of discourses, yet all of them, arguably, offered only variations and extensions of the key themes summarized in the first sermon. Ironically, the Buddha's teaching was against the current during those times. But the force of his argument was women around love, compassion and non-violence. The spread of Buddhism around the world was guided by these eternal values. In his lifetime, he always sought to convince people through his logical and moral arguments. For the Buddha always held that to force oneself to believe and accept a thing without understanding is political and not spiritual or intellectual. This is the precise reason that in his first sermon, the Buddha advises the 5 original disciples to shun the extreme methods and prefer the middle path, that is Madhyam Marga. Then he speaks of the ultimate reality as given in the 4 noble truths, which are: first, dukkha or suffering; second, samudaya, the arising or origin of dukkha; third, nirodha, the cessation of dukkha; and fourth, magga, the way leading to the cessation of dukkha. As summation of the human condition as well as human potential, these 4 pithy lines are unmatched in any tradition, spiritual or literary, in entire history. After the diagnosis of our ailment, the Buddha prescribes the medicine also, which is the noble 8-fold path to enlightenment known as the Ashtanga Marga. It is a complete and perfect way of life. The 8 steps are: right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. In conclusion, the Buddha proclaims, I quote, and a vision of true knowledge arose in me thus: my heart's deliverance is unassailable. This is the last birth. Now there is no more birth. Unquote. Thus, the Dhamma Chakra, the wheel of truth, was set in motion. Ever since it has been the lodestar, helping spiritual seekers navigate through the maze of worldly life and arrive at the end of suffering here and now. It is so scientific that it resembles psychotherapy more than a traditional dogmatic religion. It is this open attitude of inquiry into the heart of existence and the possibility of finding the key to eternal serenity that has attracted seekers in every age for the last 2500 years. The wheel has come full circle, and the word of Dhamma has in the recent decades spread to distant shores in the West too. Dear seekers, India is proud of being the land of the origin of the Dhamma. It was from India that it began to spread in neighboring regions. There, in new fertile soil and new climate, it grew organically, eventually branching off into various offshoots. In India, we see Buddhism as a fresh expression of the sublime truth. His enlightenment and the subsequent preaching by him for over 4 decades were in line with India's tradition of respect for intellectual liberalism and spiritual diversity. In modern times, 2 exceptionally great Indians, Mahatma Gandhi and Babasaheb Ambedkar, found inspiration in the words of the Buddha and went on to shape the destiny of the nation. Following in their footsteps, we should strive to hear the call of the Buddha, to respond to his invitation to walk the noble path. The world seems full of suffering, in short term as well as in long term. There are many stories of kings and affluent people suffering from acute depression who took refuge in the Buddha to escape cruelties of life. Indeed, the life of the Buddha challenges earlier convictions, as he believed in finding a deliverance from suffering in the midst of this imperfect world. Dear friends, today as the pandemic ravages human lives and economies across the globe, the Buddha's message serves like a beacon. He advised people to shun greed, hatred, violence, jealousy, and many other vices to find happiness. Contrast this message with the hankering of an unrepentant mankind indulging in the same old violence and degradation of nature. We all know that the moment the virulence of coronavirus slows down, we have a far more serious challenge of climate change before us. Mahatma Gandhi, our father of the nation, knew that the Buddha offered a way out of our present predicament. In 1927, he told the students of the Anand College in Colombo, I quote, "The great master taught us what is known as the right path. And to learn the right path is not merely to pack our brains with many things that sound nice, good and sweet, but to do the right things." Gautam Buddha was so filled with mercy and kindness that it was he who taught us to love not only the members of the human family, but also to love all life, to love all the animal world. And he taught us also the personal purity of life." Unquote. In the final phase of his life, the Buddha was acutely conscious of the fact that egotism, driven by envy, hatred, greed, and ambition, would undermine compassion and loving kindness. The Buddha therefore encouraged the culture of dialectic and debate among his followers to arrive at their own truth. His cure for human suffering remains as relevant today as it was over 2.5 millennia ago. There is no doubt that the urgency of abiding by the values that the Buddha preached is eternal. By ignoring the soothing wisdom of every spiritual tradition, we have arrived at the juncture where we find ourselves today. It is high time we paid heed. Dear friends, I am grateful to the International Buddhist Confederation for providing me the opportunity to host this event and also to share my thoughts with you. The world has suffered much this year, and I sincerely wish that this sacred day heralds a new ray of hope and grants a glimpse of happiness. I also pray that it lights the lamp of wisdom in the heart of everyone. Atta Deepo Bhav. May we all be blessed. May we all awaken to wisdom. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Shri Ramnath Kovind ji, our Honorable President of India, for sharing the words of encouragement. Vote of thanks by Venerable Dr. Dhammapiya, Secretary General, International Buddhist Confederation.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa andhabhuta ayang loko tanukhita vipassati apo sagga gacchati Sakunto jalamuttoa apo sagaya gacchati. Honorable President of India, Shri Ramnath Kovind ji, Honorable Minister of Culture, Shri Prahlad Patil ji, Honorable Minister of Minority Affairs, Shri Kiren Rijiju ji, Honorable President ICCR, Shri Vinay Sahasrabudhe ji, Honorable or His Excellency the Ambassador of Mongolia to India, our Honorable Secretary Culture, my Dhamma brothers, sisters, friends around the world. Today is the full moon day of Ashara. After Siddhartha Gautama became fully enlightened, awakened Buddha in Bodh Gaya, on this very day, he has delivered the first sermon, the teaching of the Buddha. That's why we say Buddha was awakened in Bodh Gaya, or in other words, Buddha was born in Bodh Gaya. It's not the Siddhartha Gautama. Definitely Siddhartha Gautama was born in Lumbini, in today's Nepal. But the enlightenment was born in Bodh Gaya. And Dhamma was born in Saranath on today, the day of Ashura. I would like to take this opportunity, the honor, to express our deep gratitude and thanks to Honorable President of India and Rashtrapati Bhavan, all the officers and everyone here for allowing us to host this online, virtual, global launching of Dhammacakka Day. It's very important for all of us. When there is darkness, we need light. And when there is suffering, we need a means, a way, a path to remove suffering, to overcome suffering. It was the Buddha who spoke to his disciple on this very day. Pubbhesu ananusuttesu dhammesu chakhung udapadi jnanang udapadi panya udapadi vijja udapadi aloko udapadi. That means it is not heard before. For the first time, I'm telling you, the knowledge and wisdom I have gained and seen, the higher form of knowledge called abhignana, which can remove the suffering, the disease, the problems of life. That's what he said. Avoid any kind of extremism. Today we are suffering from extreme behavior of humankind. Either this extremism is in the form of hatred or excessive greed, exploitation, or blind faith. Buddha asked, please avoid either of this extreme. Don't engage in self-mortification, torturing yourself, nor you engage in the sense gratification to the extreme. Take the middle path. That is, we have been given right understanding of the path, the Four Noble Truth, Eightfold Noble Path. I also take this opportunity to express my deepest thanks and gratitude to Shri Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Prime Minister of India, for his valuable, enlightening video message on this occasion. Also, I would like to express my thanks to the President of Mongolia for his message, which is very important for all of us. I also would like to take the opportunity to express my thanks to both the ministers, honorable ministers here on the stage, and also to the Honorable Member of Parliament and President, ICCR, Dr. Vinay Sahasrabudhe, His Excellency the Ambassador of Mongolia, and our Secretary Culture, Joint Secretary, and everyone from Ministry of Culture who are present and who have sponsored and supported this program. Also, I would like to express my gratitude and thanks to our Venerable Lama Jodpa ji, Sachidananda Joshi ji, and all the members of the Sangha globally who have supported this occasion from different parts of the world. I also like to acknowledge the participation of Venerable Siavoli Thero, General Secretary, Mahabodhi Society of India, Bhante Medankara, Professor Nawang Samtenji, Vice Chancellor, Central Institute of Higher Tibetan Studies, Varanasi, Nanjenla Mahabodhi Main Temple Management Committee, Bodh Gaya, and His Eminence Reverend Khambalama Gabju Choijam Dambal, Patron of IBC and Supreme Head of Mongolian Buddhist Ganden Tengcheling, Mongolia, and Damadipa Buddhavihara, Tripura, and all venerable monks who have chanted this Mangalacharan and Tisarana here today, this morning, and our IBC team members, DG Malay Sinhaji, Ashokji, Ashish Bhaveji, everyone, and media persons, everyone, I'm very much grateful to you all. At the end, just I would like to mention that IBC has launched a scholarship program for the foreign students who want to study in India in universities for higher education. And we have also prepared to launch Dhamma Talk series for the welfare of all. We pray all living beings in the world overcome the pandemic that we are facing today with the blessings of Triple Gem. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, dignitaries. Now let's rise for the national anthem.